Hello, good morning. This is News Desk. My name is Denisia Pomayaje. We're also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. Coming up, stakeholders react to the drop in Ghana's inflation, and Ghana Statistical Service says the current 3.3 rate is the lowest since the 2021 rebasing.
Inflation has declined to 3.3% in February 2026, from 3.8% in January 2026 and 23.1% a year earlier.
We engage some of them here on Joy News Desk. Also, Wa High Court sentences serial killer to life imprisonment for multiple counts of murder across the Upper West and Savannah regions. And on climate evidence, we take you to Agbogbloshie, where the residents are facing urban heat worsened by toxic pollution and poor housing conditions.
Rent is around 60 cedis per month. We come out to get some fresh air.
We have these plus some business updates on our desk. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is Joy News Desk. In our very first story, stakeholders in Ghana's business space have welcomed a drop in inflation as announced by the Ghana Statistical Service. The GSS says Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate has declined further to 3.3% in February 2026, marking the 14th consecutive monthly drop and the lowest level recorded since the 2021 rebasing of the Consumer Price Index. Here's government statistician Dr. Al-Hassan Idrisu.
Inflation has declined to 3.3% in February 2026, from 3.8% in January 2026 and 23.1% a year earlier. 2. Food inflation has eased significantly to 2.4% from 3.9% in January 2026 and 28.1% a year earlier. 3. Goods inflation has slowed to 3.2% from 3.7% in January 2026 and 22.6% a year earlier. 4. Imported inflation has fallen sharply to 0.6% from 2% in January 2026 and 18.5% a year earlier. 5. Regional disparities remain. Northeast region recorded the highest inflation rates of 8.9% in February 2026, while Savannah had the lowest inflation rate at negative 5.6%. And finally, but not the least, inflation today is lower, is narrower, and is more stable compared to a year earlier.
Well, what does this mean to the business community? Let's engage Charles Kusia Piakubi. He's Executive Secretary of the Ashanti Business Owners Association, and he's also in charge of business development at the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Thanks for joining us, sir. So 3.3% inflation for February 2026. What does this mean for the business community?
All right. Good morning to you and to my cherished viewers. Just some few corrections. I have retired of my work with business development with Guja. So I'm speaking strictly for Ashanti businesses.
Thank you for the correction.
Inflation, of course, yes. Inflation, of course, defines the rate at which price of items increasing within a stipulated selected items in inflation basket. When we see inflation going up, what it does to the ordinary Ghanaian is that it depletes its disposable income. That is, in a situation where the rate of inflation is not corresponding to increment in salary. So it depletes their ability, their working capital, their purchasing power, for that matter, to engage in common commodity trading. like buying food and those items. When the reverse happens, when we see a reduction in inflation, it means that the rate at which those prices probably could have increased now is slowing down to 3.3. That is a way of sustaining the disposable income of the ordinary Ghanaian. And that gives some level of respite. And you could also attest to the fact that a reduction in inflation has also affected the price of certain items, which has brought most items down. And you could hear most farmers complaining that they have a lot of farm produce, price of items have reduced, and it's the price that they have to sell to the market is far below their cost of production. So deflation is what sometimes is good, where you see typical price coming down. But what we have is a slowdown of the rate at which price of items could have also gone up. So to us as businesses, our joy has always been when you are selling, the consumer will have the ability to patronize what you are selling. So when over the period, about a year or more, we have seen price of items coming down, it of course has also helped in increasing some level of sales within the business community.
Okay, so as traders yourself, you deal directly with consumers. Are they feeling the same impact of this 3.3% inflation rate?
To some measurable extent, yes. Just like the Olivers, everybody will always be asking for more. Just like I indicated early on, reduction in inflation does not necessarily have to translate to price of items, but it's only slow the rate at which price of items could have gone up. But the good news is that you see imported inflation have come down because we have cedi outperforming major currencies like the dollar, the pound, the euro. So that brings some level of respite to the consumer. You could also attest to the fact that within the construction side too, some commodities or some items like iron rods have come down, what we call cement have come down. Even within the FMCGs, price of rice, sugar, vegetable oils, they have all seen some appreciable reduction in prices. So yes, about 60 to 70%, I could say people are having the positive impact of this inflation in their homes, in their pockets, in the business community as well.
You hold, please, because we've also been joined by Samson Asaki Awingobit. He's Executive Secretary for Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Now, Mr. Awingobit, please tell us 3.3% inflation for February 2026. How has this impacted import and exports?
With myself. Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. I must say emphatically that what it means is that the government, when the president promised to us some few days ago in Parliament that we are at the time mark and we are prepared, he's prepared to take off, we should fasten our belt. What it means is that stability has come into the country, predictability has come to the country, investors have confidence, business community can boom, business will expand. We can borrow at a lesser price, at a lesser rate, and we can grow and employ. And as you know, the private sector is the captains of the industry. We can employ more than government can employ. So government duty is to give us a good and a conducive platform for the business community to take opportunity and to invest into the right direction. So that is what it means. And what it means is that the ordinary Ghanaian citizenry packet will be okay. If you are holding an amount of 20 cedis, it value about 90-something%. Unlike what it used to happen when inflation was hovering around 23.8 or 2.54 to some extent. That wasn't a good, and that was why you saw prices of food escalated. That's why we saw the dollar to the cedi about 15 cedis or so to $1. That wasn't good. And so I can tell you, businesses should be looking for more. You can go to the commercial banks to borrow more and to pay lower rate and for expansion of our production. What it means that local production should be up to optimum We cannot say they cannot say that we are underproducing because of inflation, because of the rate to the dollar, because of if we are looking for forex to go and bring raw materials for our factories, it is so high, it's so cumbersome. No, what it means that the government have really positioned Ghana to the best of my knowledge that can woo any other investor who's looking for a country to go and do businesses.
Will you say that you are not experiencing any challenges with sourcing raw materials because of the current inflation? Is it favorable? The rate, is it favorable for you as importers and exporters?
Of course, yes. The rate is favorable for not only for importers and exporters, but for every Ghanaian. Because and of course, yes. The only where I have a challenge is our brothers and sisters who do the export. And so exporters are saying that with the lower rate of the forex, when they are brought in their export proceeds into the and they are to convert it to Ghana cedi, they are making, when they have made projections, they are making some losses. But however, they are making losses when they are converted, but they are not making loss when they are going to procure locally product for production or for production for an export, because in that area you also gain. So it's a vis-a-vis, it's a win-win situation. And I think that is how many producers are complaining that the prices have really dropped, because food prices have really dropped so far as I'm concerned. We used to buy a maize of a bag of almost 1,300. Today, a bag is costing about 400, 450, 350, about depending on wherever you are in the country. And of course, food is in abundance. What is in abundance? And of course, there's that production increment. The exporters also benefit from that aspect. So yes, I agree with you. But when you come to importations, then importers are enjoying, because at this point in time, we were thinking a whole 1 year, 14 months or thereabouts, you have to say that $1 is still within 11 cedis, not even up to 12 cedis. That is a very, very significant that the government of the day have really done. What we want now is the government should spend. The government should pay, contractors. The government should pay those who are building schools. The government should pay those who are buying food for school feeding program. And the government should pay pharmaceutical industry. Then the money will come back. It will circulate. Then everybody, because if you go to the market today to ask our people, they will tell those who are selling in the market, they will tell that yes, they are buying, but it is slow. It is slow because government is yet to commitment into payment of heavy contractors, so that the money can circulate.
Okay, so before I go to Charles, tell us about shipping costs and also duty. How is this also impacting shipping costs and duty?
Well, when it comes to freight is an international commodity. So Ghana government doesn't have control on freight. What Ghana government has control, but however, freight is low. Except that now that we are having this Iran and Israel issues, the tension. From where I sit, I'm a maritime trained by profession. I did my master's at Regional Maritime University, where maritime safety is part of the courses that I did. So even in marine insurance is also another course that I did at Regional Maritime University. Ship owners will be weighing, they'll be watching, they are watching to see, because anytime there's no peace at sea, they will not put their vessels on sea, at sea to come. And so, yes, those that are having the challenge that will be that those that have ordered, those that their stock levels are running down, that they have ordered and their vessels, or maybe the cargo has been loaded to the vessel was about to sail, and these explosions and this conflict came to into existence. What they will do is to wait and see. Now that there's bombs around, the strikes around the Suez Canal and the Gulf of Guinea area, the ship owner will want to wait, even though they have insurance covering their vessels. They wouldn't want to put out their vessels and their crew at risk. They will want to wait. So stocks levels that are running, that we're expecting their import to start coming, and it will come in the next 2 months time, or in the next 1 month time, that we're expecting may slow down. But commodity vessels that are within our anchorage are waiting to come in to discharge. They are safer, and that is the only thing I can say. That if the tension continue like this, it might affect us in that regard. Quite apart from that, I think the worst commodity that would have affected all of us is the petroleum product, which Minister of Energy have convened a meeting 2 days ago, which NPA have issued a statement to assure Ghanaians that there's that availability of product that can run to about I think about 5 weeks, and the petrol can go like 7 weeks or so. That is good assurance from the government, from MPA, and from the Energy Ministry, meeting his team to say that, and his stakeholders say that, please don't take advantage of this Iran and Israel conflict to up your prices just for nothing. But let it still stay within the window floor level that MPA has given you, because there's availability of product that have been stored. Then, of course, if you come to the port, President Mahama came, the new government came at the time we were buying dollar at 14 cedis to go and do importation. That 2020. You can pick it up back at 2024, 2025 January, 2025 February, 2025 March. By this time, we were buying dollar at 14 cedis to $1 to 14 cedis. Then custom were using 13 cedis in calculating duty in 2025 January, February, March by this time. But when the government presented its budget in March, in April, the rate dropped, and so custom were using 10.2 for a very long time. As I speak with you, custom is still using 10.68 something in calculating duty. And COVID levy has been abolished, as you are aware about that. And e-levy has been abolished. You know, we used to have people who pay duty more than 3 million Ghana cedis. So 1% of COVID levy, 1% of e-levy, if the person were to transfer his money from electronic from his bank to another bank, that would cost him another cost of doing business. So all these things have really come. Then, of course, the decoupling of the VAT from the health insurance and the GET fund, reducing the VAT at the port to 20%, from 21.9 to 20%, is also a savings, a huge savings to the business community. And so I can tell you, if you go to the port now, people who are clearing cargo at the port cannot tell you that they are incurring certain costs. If there's any challenge at the port, maybe there may be some delays of equipment that are using maybe to service us, to drop your container or to load your container and other things. But apart from that, I can tell you the port is working 24 hours. Gone are the days before President Mahama pronouncement of 24-hour economy. We used to work only in the night at MPS. But now, if you go to the GPHA terminal, we clear spare parts, Brunuwau and the rest. Where we go to Savebond, where they clear vehicles, and then when we go to River Container, where we clear the frozen chicken, the other things, the frozen meat, all these containers are working. Gone are the days that before April or before, I think, May, July, thereabout, that the 24-hour came to stay at the port. If you were to drop your container, you've gone to clear your cargo, you brought the empty container back to the shipping line, you want to drop it, and it's 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon, they will tell you they've closed. Today, that will not happen. Or you want to go to Golden Jubilee for them to drop your container around 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon, then they will tell you they have closed unless tomorrow. That doesn't happen. You can work your documentation in the morning or in the afternoon, and in the night, you go to the port to clear your cargo. Right. And the system, all shipping lines are working, all actors are working. Above all, the ICOM system that we are using at the port is now working. You remember we had challenges with it in August 2025 that the Minister of Trade has to summon all of us to a meeting. Then they assured us that ICOM assured us that Ghana Link assured us that they were building another data center in the Central region. That center is up around October, November last year. And as we speak now, system is very robust. Okay. And if there's any challenge downtimes, then it's about internet and not about system.
All right. So I'll come to you. I want to go briefly to Charles. I'll come back to you, Samson. But when I get back to you, you'd help us understand how the inflation rate has made our businesses competitive in the international market, even though you say that freight, government does not control freight because, of course, it's international. I'll come back to you so you help us understand if the current inflation rate, 3.3%, has made Ghanaian businesses, importers or exporters, competitive. But Charles, please help us understand. We know that the Ghana reference rate has reduced from 14.58 to 11.7%. This means reduced cost of credit. Is that correct? And are you feeling the impact?
Okay, thank you once again. This was the directive that was released yesterday, which it takes effect from yesterday.
Yes, from your statement.
And even before that,
Ashanti business owners.
No, the statement of GAB, Ghana Bankers Association, that the issue that effective 4th March, that was yesterday, then the reduction in GRL takes effect. So we are yet to experience it. But let me get to the economic side of it. You know about the period when governors, central bank want to control inflation, what they have sought to do is to increase the policy rate. And the moment policy rate is increased, the tendency effect is on lending rates, which affect Ghana referencing rate. So you make lending quite expensive. And when we saw policy rate coming down, our argument is if policy rate is coming down, there must be some economic translation to businesses. And that is when you reduce your Ghana referencing rate. God so good and graciously, yesterday there was been a release which have reduced DRR from 8 previous rate to the current rate, which is 11.71%. What it does basically means that your cost of lending automatically will come down by a certain percentage. So let's assume I was supposed to borrow from the bank, and my referencing rate was what do you call it, the 54.6 or so. And the spread, the banks always have a certain margin to what do you call it, their Ghana referencing rate. So which of course will shoot your lending rate beyond the ceiling. So let's assume policy rate is 15.5. Ghana referencing rate was high. When you add your margin, it goes on to about 19.59. Now with the reduction of the Ghana referencing rate to 11.71, even if you decide to do a spread of even 5%, your interest rate becomes 15.71, which is very lower. So business will start experiencing lending rates within the ranges of even 14% if they decide to do a spread of 3%, which of course reduces our cost of doing business. You have been talking about stability within the macroeconomic indicators and how do we benefit from it at the micro section. So having a reduction in referencing rates, which affects lending rates, will mean that businesses will have access to cheap capital. The moment businesses have access to cheap capital, it affects cost of doing business. It reduces cost of doing business as lower as by the corresponding decrease in the referencing rate. So what happens is that business can do more, business can expand, business can employ, and it will make us competitive to take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, whereby the tenets of reduced cost of doing business, we can now begin to compete in the neighboring countries. I always say that for every economy to thrive, there's need to be economic movement. And every economic movement is influenced by capital flow. So if you want to have positive and high effects of economic growth, we look at cost of funding. The moment cost of funding comes down, it increases economic movement. And the multiplier effect is there for us to see, and I've already enumerated them. When cost of funding is lower, businesses have the ability to engage higher level of transactions. And even with the reduction in what do you call it, lending rates, the savings could be part of your working capital. So it also will reduce your rate of borrowing from the bank. Because let's assume you are the bank with a reduced referencing rate and lending rate. Every year you are saving about 50,000 Ghana cedis on your loan. That 50,000 automatically become part of your working capital. So if we are supposed to maybe go back and request for an extra funding of maybe 200,000, because now you have a saving of 50,000, you probably will reduce your exposure.
Okay.
And what it also does to businesses, you see, earlier Bank of Ghana was recording high NPLs. And the argument that we turned up was that it is not a deliberate attempt of business to default, but it's the issue of affordability, where cost of borrowing is so high and activities at the marketplace is not enough to support it.
So, but
this delinquencies.
Okay,
you
so
see
this
high defaulting rate. So when the reverse happen,
okay,
and
so
we have a reduced interest rate, it therefore brings us that level of affordability to ensure quick and prompt repayment of loans.
okay, so I gather from you that the 11.7% reference rate is actually good news for businesses. So in wrapping up, Mr. Awengobit, can you please help us appreciate from your perspective as an importer or the head of importers and exporters across the country, if the current inflation rate can makes businesses competitive, businesses in Ghana competitive on the international markets? Quickly, so we can wrap. Hello, Mr. Awengobit.
I have to unmute me from your end there. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's clearer now. So the current inflation rate, 3.3, does it make Ghanaian businesses competitive in the international market?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Inflation at 3.5, 3.3, prime reference rate at 11 point something. What it means is that when at the time President Mama gave his State of the Nation address, you could have borrowed at the rate of 18, 19, or 20 at the bank. Today, I'm sure the bank will definitely have to come down to, let's say, 15 or 14%.
All right.
For us to borrow from the bank. What it means is that we are even looking forward to see a single digit in terms of interest rate from the bank, commercial banks.
Right.
If the government continues to keep the single digit as it is, then of course, obviously, the reference rate will even come down further. The prime rate will even come down further. And so lending at the bank would definitely be a single digit. That is what some of our sub-Sahara here, some countries are borrowing at 7%, at 6% per annum. It wasn't good when Ghanaians were borrowing at 30%, 35% per annum. It wasn't good when our inflation was around 54%. And so this is the right time. So when the government said that the economy is rebounding, it is true that the economy is truly rebounding. And these are the indicators that we are seeing, and these are the reflections that we are seeing. Of course, business community will take the opportunity to flourish.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Samson Asaki Awengobit. He's Executive Secretary for the Importers and Exporters Association. And we're also joined by Charles Kusi, who is with the Ashanti Business Owners. Thank you so much for your time. Let me now take you to the Upper West region, specifically to the High Court, Wa High Court, where it has sentenced a serial killer to life imprisonment after he pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder across the Upper West and Savannah regions. Now, a statement by the Ghana Police Service disclosed that the court handed down the sentence to Sharif Abdullahi, also known as Christos, for the murder of Issa Yaha and 22 others. The statement further said Abdullahi pleaded guilty to killing 16 people in Wa, 5 in Bole, and 1 each in Banda, Nkwanta, and Bamboy. Let's get on Zoom and speak to Rafiq Salam. Rafiq, even before we get into this sentencing, help us, what was the background of this story? Because we know that the killing started in 2021, but just a brief background on this very story.
You know, the people of the Upper West region for about 4 or 5 years, they've been struggling to come to the terms of what actually transpired at their backyard, because months or weeks upon weeks, people definitely will get up in the morning. What they will hear is that somebody is suspected to have been murdered somewhere. And so it was really difficult for the people to at least to see what was really happening at their backyard. It really got a lot of there was a lot of security care in the region, and so many bars, many restaurants, and then even some activities in the night here in Wak will close, businesses will close before even 10 p.m. And so everybody had their, their hands on deck, and then they were looking for this suspected serious killer until somewhere last year that this Sharif Abdullahi guy was arrested, and he confessed to killing about 16 of the people in Wa, 5 in the Savannah region and other areas. And so that's really the picture, and it was really frightening in Wa, even when he was arrested. I mean, many people were really happy that I think wasn't somebody who was suspected to have been killing, particularly next.
Okay, and Rafiq, are you able to tell us how the families of these over 20 deceased persons are responding to the sentencing? Justice, finally.
For them, they think that justice really has come to a doorstep, and then I think they have gradually.
Rafiq, are you there?
Held it woman, but he, the only person the question that they are asking is that persons, because they think that the act that occurred in the last 4 years, they think that it was sophisticated and it could not have been done by one person. So what they are urging the authorities in the region, I'm talking about the security, at least they want them to dig further, to look further into the issue, at least to, if they can roll in more people into the scene so that they will also be sick like Sheriff Abdullah.
All right, Rafiq, are you able to tell us the general mood in these areas in terms of security? Do people still feel safe?
For now, the people are saying that, yes, it's far better than at least 2-3 years ago when people went to bed. They couldn't have both eyes closed. At least now, the people of Wa will be sleeping with at least one eye open. And so at least the mood in Wa is one of excitement. They are really happy. But what at least they are really talking about is that they want more people to bring in into this issue. So they are thinking that once they are jubilating, they are happy that at least he has been convicted and sentenced to life prison. They think that he's not the only person who committed this act.
Rafiq, I believe the question on the minds of most people is what motivated the killings? In your interaction on grounds, perhaps maybe in court, was it clear exactly what motivated these killings?
For the suspect, for the guy who was sentenced, he told us, Sheriff Abdullah told us that he, some of the people knew them as me. Because he wanted me to shop, and that was the reason why at least he went to blast some of them and then even took some parts of them. But likely suspected that he was using this for ritual purpose.
Wow, that's interesting. I hope the families are okay with this judgment, the sentencing, and they feel much safer. Thank you so much, Rafiq Salam.
For now, they are really happy that at least they have gotten justice. But now that they are happy that they have gotten justice, especially the last person that was killed, Mr. Yaya, who happens to hail from somewhere around Tigray, who is they are actually our neighbors. And so they are really happy that at least they've been able to get the person who actually killed Mr. Yaya.
Yes, so from 2021 till now is quite a long time, but at least justice has been finally served. Thank you so much, Rafiq Salam, for joining us. Rafiq Salam is our Upper West Regional Correspondent. Now, moving on, as Ghana battles the effects of climate change, the focus has largely been on drainage and flooding. But in places like Agbogbloshie, residents are facing extreme urban heat, worsened by toxic pollution and poor housing conditions. On today's Climate Evidence, we focus on the hidden health crisis in one of Accra's most vulnerable slums and ask, what happens when climate resilience doesn't reach the margins?
By day, the heat is unbearable. By night, the air is thick with smoke. In Agbogbloshie, Accra's notorious slum, climate vulnerability isn't a theory, it's a struggle. While major parts of the city benefit from the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project, GARD, this part of town is still waiting. The narrow alleys of Agbogbloshie traps heat like an oven. Temperatures inside rooms can soar beyond safe levels, a silent killer few are talking about. Agbogbloshie is one of West Africa's largest informal e-processing hubs. With little regulation, scrap dealers burn metals daily, releasing toxic smoke into already polluted air. But in Agbogbloshie, shade is rare. Trees are few, and promise of climate protection remains far away. For these residents, climate change isn't just about floods or rising sea levels. It's about daily survival under suffocating heat and poison in the air.
The children struggle a lot at night. Recently, my child has been affected by a skin disease.
I currently sleep at the Cucumber Market. The rent is around 60 cedis per month. We come out to get some fresh air.
A 2024 study by Dr. Ebenezer Mankwa from the University of Ghana reveals that urban slums like Agbogbloshie are experiencing a unique heat health burden. A dangerous combination of chronic heat exposure, poor air quality, and limited access to health care.
We have installed heat detection devices in rooms and hospitals. For setup, position windows to face each other and orient buildings to allow wind flow, reducing heat impact.
Agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency have launched urban greening initiatives in selected guard zones, promoting natural cooling in heat-prone neighborhoods.
The EPA encourages Ghanaians to plant trees in their homes.
Climate resilience must be inclusive, no one left behind. Agbogbloshie is just one of many forgotten corners in Accra where the cost of climate inaction is already too high. Experts say health-focused, heat-sensitive interventions are urgently needed in such areas, and projects like GUARD could be the blueprint. But until action meets urgency, the most vulnerable will remain dangerously exposed. Prince Owusu Esiedu's report read to you.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund. Now to some other stories. Headmaster of Dodi Papase Senior High Technical School in the KJB district of the Oti region, John Mensah da Silveira, is asking government to complete all stalled projects. Students currently stand to eat under a structure serving as the dining and assembly hall for over 500 students in the school. Peter Senu reports.
Look at the way we are eating. It's not fair. When it is raining, we eat like that. No dining hall. We need a support. Means to pass. Please, you people for try and help us with dining hall.
This is the reality at Dodi Papase Senior High Technical School in the KJB district of the Oti region. The 43-year-old school is still grappling with serious infrastructural deficits such that male students would have to sit at the back of their dormitories or stand under trees to take their meals, while the female students manage the space under the available structure, currently serving as a dining hall for the school. This is just to make room for convenience under this structure. This structure is to hold 585 boarding students for dining and more student numbers for any school gathering, since it is also serving as the assembly hall for the school. The situation, the headmaster is asking government to come to the rescue of the school.
While we celebrate achievements and leadership, it is also important to reflect honestly on some of the challenges facing our school. Nana Chairman, currently, the school does not have a well-constructed dining hall or assembly hall. This affects the comfort and welfare of our learners. Management of the school is on her knees, appealing to the regional minister through the district chief executive to assist us get the contractor back to site to complete the installed dining hall kitchen project, which was started in December 2015. The project was initiated to provide a safe and healthy environment for our learners to eat and socialize. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, the project has been stalled. The contract was awarded on 11 December 2015 to the Fiat Development Company Limited and was to be completed or on before 31st December 2016.
John Mensah da Silveira is the headmaster at the Dodi Papase Senior High Technical School. The structures in the school are largely ground buildings. The headmaster wants an upgrade to the school's infrastructure.
Honorable DC, the Board of Governors, management and staff and the learners will be very much pleased if you could use your high office to assist us get a 2-unit classroom study building.
The headmaster was speaking at the SRC Week celebration for the school. Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Take a quick break here on Joy News Desk. We'll be back with more. Please just stay with us. Hello, welcome back. It's time for business and Michelle.
Poma.
Yes.
Michelle. I think that should be my signature. I don't know, but yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, that's how I'm going to introduce you.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the music team behind it.
Yeah, I sing. Did I tell you that? I'll sing for you after the show.
Okay, now let's get into our stories for the day. Now, the government is expected to declare 21 coastal communities marine protected areas in a move aimed at preserving Ghana's marine biodiversity and improving fisheries management, starting with the Greater Cape 3 points in the Western region. The declaration by the president will restrict fishing activities in the designated areas. The move is part of the implementation of actions adopted by the government under the 30 by 30 initiative aimed at protecting and restoring at least 30% of the Earth's land and ocean areas by 2030. There's more in this report.
More than 190 countries adopted a 30 by 30 target under Target 3 of the Global Biodiversity Framework, committing to effectively conserve and manage 30% of the world's land, inland waters and oceans by 2030, particularly areas critical for biodiversity and ecosystem services. However, global progress remains slow. Since 2022, international reviews show that the world is off track, with only about 2.9% of the ocean fully or highly protected, far below the 30% target. Ghana, like many other countries, has made limited progress toward meeting this commitment. As part of implementing measures under the framework, some communities along Ghana's coastal lines are expected to be declared marine protected areas. Professor Kwejo Bechi Siedu spoke during the launch of the Save Our Sea campaign organized by the Ghana Agricultural and Rural Development Journalists Association in partnership with the Earth Journalism Network.
We are starting this one by implementing the first marine protected area, which is MPA, and that MPA declaration is going to happen this year. God willing, maybe this month, the president will go and declare the first marine protected area. That's at Greater Cape 3 points in the Western region. So from that day, once the president declares that this place is a marine protected area, then there will be no fishing in that area. Okay, the fishing will just go there to go and have their rest, lay their eggs, and then produce. And then they move to the other parts of the ocean where fishers can go and then harvest them.
The training on effective media coverage of marine issues in Ghana equipped journalists with a robust understanding of the global 30 by 30 marine conservation targets. Charles Smith is a country coordinator for Earth Journalism Network.
So the 30 by 30 target touches on achieving 30% of our resources that we have lost, protecting them. And this part of the project is on a 30% with regards to marine resources. So that is why the focus is on marine resources. We have other projects that also looks at the other aspect of the 30 by 30. Now the 30 by 30 is taken from the Kunmin Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, which has 23 targets, and the target 3 looks at that. So that is why the focus is on marine resources and not any other thing.
National President of Gaja, Richmond Frimpong, urged journalists to apply the knowledge and skills gained from the training to produce comprehensive reports on marine issues.
So we expect each journalist, after going through this exclusive training, to able to do a comprehensive future story or reporting on these marine issues. There are a lot of topical issues that emanated from today's training, and I think most of them have been urged to, take action on these topics.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.